What are you laughing at?
Oh, nothing. Greg Santos just messaged me.
Greg Santos just sent you a message? You're not even friends with Greg Santos.
Actually, Rach, it looks like you're actually not his friend.
You are such a bitch.
I don't know.
Okay, my name's Nickel on MSN.
My MSN name is Big John.
My name's Albert on MSN.
Rizla.
Krish-5.
Jessica on MSN with lots of S's.
I have about 110 people on there.
Probably 130 people.
About 120 people on MSN. Like 160 people.
Like 150 contacts.
My preferred status is away.
Preferred mode? Away, probably. My preferred mode is online.
My preferred status is busy.
Probably away. Online.
Preferred mode, I don't really care.
Are people addicted to MSN?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Fully.
Really?
Yeah, exactly.
MSN is a messaging service designed for communication. There has been a separation of the masses in regards to MSN. There are those, as I like to classify, as the people that want to be talked to and the people that want to talk to them. It's a classic example of the proletarian and the bourgeoisie, the weak and the strong, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You have so many options with it. It's easy. You could sit there in your underwear while you're talking to your boss, and they have this idea of what you look like. You can sit there, but at the other hand, you could be sitting there thinking you're talking to a very pretty girl, and in fact, you're talking to a guy named Jorge out in the villages of Majajachnar, which is actually a beautiful place. I've been there twice with my daughter. You can be creative in displaying yourself. You do have a display picture, which is about an inch-by-inch box where you can put any picture you want, pretty much. There's no restraints. And then you have an MSN name, which is your name that people see, so everybody on your contact list gets to see your name. There's lots of people in the MSN world that take great pride and pleasure in their MSN name. And people that have funny MSN names generally tend to be pretty funny in their real life.
MSN is evil.
MSN is a good thing and it's a bad thing.
It's a good thing, but it wastes a lot of time.
I'm on it like 24/7 and I have like a million friends.
They're always on.
It's just always on. Like you keep it on your computer no matter what and you're just always on it.
Who isn't online is the real question. Everybody's online these days. Everybody's got MSN or email. It seems like it's kind of taking over as the #1 form of communication.
There's always an urge to tell people what you're doing, to be exhibitionist. They just want people to notice. They want to be important, and this is a very inexpensive way of being important. Everybody can now be important.
When it comes down to it, it feels good to get a message sometimes.
Those statistics, I don't know, apparently even though they're meaningless, people are like, how many friends do you have, or how many comments do you have? And even though we say it's meaningless, why are we asking each other if it doesn't interest us,
Yeah. I feel people constantly need reassurance, and as human beings, we constantly need to be told or reassured of our position.
Think about the teenage hormones anyway, their sense of insecurity, their unbelievable need to be accepted and loved and adored and thought of as cool. You mix all that together and you think, okay, yeah, they can be addicted to communication. They're addicted to gossip. I'd like to know how many actual hours per day they spend on MSN.
If you've ever sent an emoticon and meant it, if you've ever gotten your display picture professionally done, you might be an MSN geek. If you've ever spoken to someone so much on MSN that when you see them in person, you go like this, you might be an MSN geek. If you've ever jerked off with your left hand and asked your buddy about his math exam with your right, you might be an MSN geek. If you've ever come home pissed drunk from the bar, signed in on MSN looking for a booty call from your cousin, you just might be an MSN geek.
I'm possibly addicted to MSN.
My mom would threaten me with taking it away, and I would throw hissy fits. I'd be like, no, I can't take it away.
People are always curious as to, what if I just sign on right now? Will somebody initiate conversation with me? I think I'll just check real quick. Or who's online? Who's got a funny name today?
It's definitely made people like less more of a personal thing. Like you'll see people that like be like, okay, we'll go on MSN at this time and deal with this person, like because they don't want to do it in person. It's definitely like cut off the social interaction.
In order to be social, it's not just over a computer all the time, right? You should be able to speak to people in person. I find a lot of people who are shy seem to be on there more frequently than others just because they're more comfortable behind a computer.
Friends of mine that use MSN a lot, they find it a lot easier to chat to girls when they're on MSN, so I'm guessing MSN is like a confidence thing as well because you're just you and the computer, you're not really having that eye contact with people.
It's better than me on the phone because sometimes you don't like people's voices, right?
You're in contact with your friends more, but it's not proper.
It's really difficult because tone and like visual expression, body language are like a huge part of conversation. Like only a little bit of actual meaning that people take from conversation is like in the spoken word. So it does take a lot away from conversations.
The one thing that I hate about MSN is how they have the like emoticons or whatever, and I think it's really funny how they try and make that self-expression. Like you're joking, you say tongue face blank. Like no one does that. Like they're telling a joke, they're not like like nobody does that.
That makes me laugh more than the actual joke sometimes. Like if they have some like crazy one they like custom made or something, I'm like, whoa man, what are you doing?
Like the Snoop Dogg one where he's like...
MSN is a way of dehumanizing communication. And if you use MSN as your #1 form of communication, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to excel in a social realm. It may mean that you've got a good use of the emoticons and you can generate nudges, and you might even have some personalized emoticons that other people don't have. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to excel in a social popularity pyramid.
It's unmediated communication. You're getting the straight goods, and there's not a face there or another voice to tell you to soften this and make it easier to take, which is what communication has to have.
No, Mark! No!
What's the matter with you? Have you completely lost your mind?
You told me that you loved me.
I never once said that. This would have never happened if you hadn't deleted me.
Mark, you deleted yourself.
To delete somebody is very, very aggressive behavior. Essentially, deleting somebody off your MSN network is saying, I never want to talk to you ever again. Okay, and they don't really have an equivalency to this in face-to-face communication. If I was to think of one, it would be a kick to the groin or a Razor Ramon Razor's Edge.
When you think of like relationships that kind of disintegrate because of MSN, or like fights that happen on MSN, because it does happen, I think that's just way too big a negative.
People either have to be addicted to it or happy with it, because if they were sad with it and they weren't addicted to it, nobody would be on it.
It's an impediment. I think the only reason you become more introverted or socially gifted, or maybe I should use the word socially healthy, is if you get out there and start talking to people face to face and enjoy authentic relationships rather than those words that are ambiguous, those pictures that could mean something totally different. I mean, where is the authenticity in relationships in MSN? I would wager that there is none.
What is the problem to which this is the solution? I think you can ask that of all technology, and very often, no, it just came along, now it is the problem. The potential of technology is fantastic if we could only control it, and we have never really controlled it because we're so enthused by it, because it has brought us such enormous wealth. We never really look at it objectively and say what's going on here. MSN I would look upon as a little blip on that, a sort of little carbuncle on the massive disease we're suffering from.
I don't think people are happier because of MSN. I think MSN has just added a new thing for us to do while we're waiting to die.